Good morning, everyone. While waiting for other people to join this webinar, if you can see the screen, there is a contest where you can get a participate. Please feel free to scan the QR code and then log in your LinkedIn, and then you can post this event so that we can see who's getting the highest reach, and then you can get the Amazon voucher from SingleStore. Thank you, everyone, for participating to our SingleStore first webinar for Southeast Asia. So this is going to be a regular webinar that we will do it every month. And then quarterly basis, we will do physical meetings. If you are available, we can always doing a small workshop in SingleStore office in Centennial Tower, Singapore. And for the one who's in another countries, you can also do hybrid, join the events. We will wait for another 2 minutes before we kickstart the conversation. I see some more people just joining the call. So thank you for the time that you give to SingleStore, and please feel free to get your coffee to enjoy the conversation. As you can see in the screen, there is a SingleStore social contest. Please feel free to join the fun by scan the QR code and then log into your LinkedIn and post this event to your friends and followers. And whoever get the highest reach will win an Amazon voucher from SingleStore. And as I mentioned, this is our first webinar. We will do it periodically, so it's once a month activities, and we will have like various topics in each and every month. And at the same time, also we will do quarterly physical meetings. It's gonna be in Singapore, so whoever not in Singapore, please feel free also to join us hybrid. Okay, I think we can start the webinar now. Okay, thank you, everyone. Good morning for people who are in Singapore. And I see like some are from Indonesia, and then some are from India, and also from Japan. I see. Thank you so much for joining the call today. And today's topic is about how SingleStore can really help you in terms of the real-time analytics without like giving you a high cost, because sometimes you can see there's a correlation between performance and high price, right? So with single store, it's going to be another way around, where you get a high performance with lower the cost. How we can do that, I can share with you the details on this today's presentation. So
You
I
share your
hope,
screen, please. We can't see your screen.
okay, you can see my screen right now.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So what are the challenges that most of the people are facing now in their organization, right? Especially on the modern application that they build. So we can see one is the data size. Like most companies, they start with the small data sets, but along the way, they see the growth that is actually quite exponential, from gigabytes of data is becoming terabytes until like petabytes of data, right? And sometimes the existing databases that they have couldn't keep up with the performance. So when the data is still gigabytes, maybe they are happy with the performance, but when the data is getting bigger, they will start having a challenge on the performance on their application, where, for example, the query performance is getting slow, and then the application also will have latency issues. So this is something that is happen to most customers, scalability issues, right? And the second one is the complexity of query, where maybe with the simple queries, you will get a very good performance on your the result of the query. But once the query is getting more complex with a high volume of your data, right, running at the same time, so that's where you will have like so many challenges on the performance of the query. So this is also something that is happen, where you need to have joint aggregation of the data, right? So the second like problems that you are facing right now, also this is something that is happen, impacting the performance of your application. The third one is the query latencies, where you can see, for example, because of the data that is very heavy, or like the complexity of your query will impact on your application, where, for example, your Tableau, your Power BI, or like any application that you build will have latency issues. It's also happen like for impacting on the high concurrency, where on the certain time of period in the month, right? For example, for retails, there's a single days where so many people accessing the application at the same time. This is also will have impact on the performance of the application. Or for the banking, where like in the morning, where so many users are trying to do a transaction, so this is also impacting the application that is um, for the customer facing, right? So this is something that is always been a challenge for most of the enterprises. And the last one is the speed of ingestion. Like most of the customers, when they are trying to get the data from the transaction, goes to their analytical, right? So there are a lot of challenges on the speed of the ingestion, where they're trying to do streaming data, but they couldn't keep up with the performance. For example, they're still taking like hours to do batching process. This is something that is happen in most of the companies. So this is something that single store are really strong. It means we can really help you to kind of like improve the performance of your application by fixing the query performance to be real time, or like your latency issue to be sub-second to millisecond latencies. And also like concurrency, high concurrency will not be something that is gonna have a challenge anymore with single store, right? And the last one is the speed of ingestion. So how we can do that? So one thing that I want to tell you, right, why real time is so important, because the more real time the data, the more the value is. It means if you can only deliver the data slow, or like I need to wait for another few seconds or few minutes, of course the result, the insight that you will deliver to your management or to your customer will not as good as if it's in real time. So this is where single source coming in the um, database world, like because so many databases in the world, right? You might already encounter like more than hundreds databases in the market. And who is single store? So the different about when we talk about database, people always separate database for transaction or analytics. But when single store coming in to the technology point of view, right? We want to position ourselves as a transaction analytics. It means we can do in memory row store, and also we can do column store. But the unique part of single store is we can do it in one single table type. So that's why we have pattern. We call it universal storage, where we can do row store and column store in one single table type. This is where most of the customer will get the performance. It means when the ingestion is still happen, we can already query the data. So you don't need to wait until the ingestion completed, and then you can move the data from transaction to analytics, and then you can run the query. So with single store, you will not do that, but it means you can just do transaction and analytics together, right? So that's where the performance is. And of course, single store is a multimodal. As you can see, along the way, not only we are doing transaction or an analytic, but also we add more data types in the solution. We have full factor search, we have full text search, and it has been there since 2017. It means customer who want to explore enterprise AI, for example, they don't need to again buying another solution to add in the complexity of the data layer, right? And also like full text search, you don't need to also buy specific niche database to support your full text search. It's already part of the single store database. And also one thing that is also important, single store is not only SQL, but also NoSQL. It means customer who want to use single store for semi-structured data, like JSON format, you can also use single store. So it means with single store, not only you get the performance, but you also get the simplicity, right? You will not have a complexity of your data layers. You don't need to start with, for example, MySQL and Postgres, and then you need to buy MongoDB for the semi-structure. You don't need to buy Elastic for full text search. You don't need to buy Pinecone or PG Factor for the factor search. It's all already in single store. And for the performance, you don't need to buy Redis, because we are also like having a persistent cache. So this kind of thing will make you definitely reduce the cost, and TCO wise, you will have a lower compute compared with like another databases in the market, right? So that's where the position of single store. And of course, like so many leaders in the world already trust single store as part of their mission critical application. Like for example, Kakao, they're using single store for their advertising analytics for the Kakao Messenger, right? And also, of course, like a lot of fintech, martech, edtech companies, a lot of technology companies like Adobe, Cisco, Palo Alto, they are all believe in single store to boost their um, important application in their ecosystem. And we are already also trusted database that is already proven by third party like Gartner. We are on the cloud database management system Magic Quadrant. And also from Forrester point of view, we are in the strong performer for trans analytic data platform, right? And some more like reviews from GigaOM comparing ourselves with Snowflakes plus Postgres, and also Redshift plus MySQL, and they see us like higher performers, and then reduce the TCO wise. And of course, we are good in the TPCC and TPCH, right, in terms of the performance. So a lot of reviews that has been done showing that single SingleStore can really deliver high performance. And talking about enterprise AI, or like how big enterprises can see single store, where is the positioning of single store? We know that so many customers already have like super complex ecosystem, so many transaction database, and so many analytical database that they adopt. And of course, there are ETLs. There are like a lot of also supporting technology like data governance, data a catalog, data discovery. So where is SingleStore, right? So SingleStore is actually a speedy layer that can be used to connect with any data sources coming from transaction or from your existing data warehouse, right? That can be the front end to connect to your application. Because at the end, especially enterprise AI application, you cannot have like low performance. You need to have like multimodal database that can support performance, that can ingest the data from many data sources. This is where SingleStore can help you to achieve the real-time analytics that you expected, right? So that's about the positioning of the SingleStore. We can be analytical layers for your enterprise AI or your dashboarding for your what we call it um, analytical workload. And then in summary, before I pass it to Mike to go deep into the technology and how SingleStore can really show the performance, right? So this is the summary of SingleStore. So we are a data platform that can do transaction analytics and also AI. It means we have factor inbuilt also that can connect with your LLM model to be used for your AI application. And as I mentioned also, we can do row store and column store in one single table type. So it means ingestion and query can be done in the same time. And of course you also can use SingleStore. We call it a distribution, that a distributed SQL, right? So it means we are high availability, we are having high availability and also horizontal scalable. So you can start small with SingleStore and you can just add more leaf nodes when the data is growing. So scalability will not be an issue with SingleStore. And the most important, of course, with that, performance will be there, speed, right? And the second one, the simplicity, because we can process SQL, JSON, time series, geospatial, key values, full text search. So it means we can be a one single database to support your application, and we can be deployed anywhere, on premise or cloud. We are on AWS, GCP, Azure, Marketplace, and also hybrid environment. We are on Kubernetes, bare metal. So deployment is it can be flexible, depends on how comfortable you are in your current ecosystem right now. So I will pass it to Mike now to go deeper into the technology. If you have any questions, please feel free to add in the chat, and then I can help you with the answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. This is my solution engineering from SingleStore. Can you let me know we are able to see my share screen?
Yeah.
Um, okay, that's perfect. So on the screen is the SingleStore high level architecture. So that is the secret sauce what my SingleStore has. Let's talk from the user point of view. Let's say you have application service support for your user. So when they interacting with SingleStore, this one is the high level topology of SingleStore where it's including the aggregator, and also that the data in the SingleStore is stored in different of the VM or virtual machine, and is stored where we call it sleep node, or you can call it simply is a data node. So this distributed architecture is allow SingleStore to do is scale out unlimitedly. It means that you can when your business grow, you can add in more lymph node to support for your data and to maintain the same performance. and and of course that let's talk about something Christine will mention earlier, that is universal storage. So when the data from outside go into SingleStore, firstly is landed into a row store bay, and then it's in memory, so which is allow you to having fast ingestion. We're talking about the hundred a million of record in table per second, and of course that it's also um, up, also is persisted down into the column store where it's suitable for the use case of analytics, and of course that it also run into the transaction log as well. And in case that you are using on-premise with cloud object storage, let's say for S3 or Azure. So that it means that it will enable something we call the unlimited storage, where we talk is later that uh, in the short form that is allow you to store more data than your the total data of in your lib node. And the combination between the row store bay and column store, that is where we call it universal storage. And this three-tier memory, persistent cache, and cloud object storage, that is our three-tier architecture in SingleStore. And forgot to mention SingleStore is relational database, so it means that it does support that those data type like datetime, varchar, um, and of course that we also support that semi-structured data like JSON and suitable for the other use case, saying and also support for the other use case like time series or key value where you require the fast retrieval of data beside the high performance on analytics. So in SingleStore, pretty much is in very easy to start with SingleStore as we are relational SQL database. So um, if you are if you're having background with the SQL database like Oracle, Postgres, MySQL, SQL Server, you feel it mean that your learning curve is pretty much easy. Starting first in create database. So basically, when you do a create database, so that your database split here actually is split into multiple partition is on different lib node like split one, split two, etc. to speak it for example. So each each of the each of a partition will hold a piece of your data inside your table, and of course that the data in each and every how say in your partition is also replicate to the other lib node so that it enable high availability. And uh, after create table, so you create the after create database, you create a table. So pretty much it's similar to mean that the other relational database in terms of the data type you do have in date, time, timestamp, integer, floating. But one key thing that is the sharding that is for distributed. When you define a sharding key inside the table, SingleStore automatically taking the the column where you define Shaki and then distributed your data into the um, partition based based on the value of the Shaki. So the purpose of Shaki, right, to enable mean that to help you to balance your data across partition, so that when you processing the query, so it's good on the limb node you have the same data to process for your query. And of course, the other key important thing about SingleStore when create table that is short key. So basically, short key as the name is mentioned is for sorting the data. So basically, as we create the table in column store is in multiple segments. So each of the segment we have data belong to that segment, and the short key is you have sorting that the data in that segment. So the for the short key, right? The value of the record will be short based on the alphanumerical in ascending order. And this thing is bringing to one of the benefits. It means that of the segment where we call it segment elimination. So when it's receiving your query and if if your predicate matching with the short key, so SingleStore query engine you ultimately leverage on the short key, and then it will be eliminate whatever partition is not satisfy your value of the predicate, and then it's only pick up the segment where it is requiring to satisfy based on the value of predicate. So that is will help you to speed up the query performance. And we also know mean that a database world is separate into two pieces. One is, I mean, row store, good for OLTP, where you do fast lookup, you do single point insert, update, delete. But the other side of the world, I mean, column store for analytics, where we do a aggregation, sum and average over the whole data set, and then whatever can do in OLTP cannot do in OLTP, vice versa. So single store mean that having patent technology called universal storage, where it allows you to do that the workload of both sides OLTP or LAMP. So what the benefit you will get? Firstly, simplify your data architecture, reduce the reduce the data movement, and also that the costing in terms of licensing, in terms of the human resource to manage it, and then but of course the performance is always much better, where it will lead into the better customer experience as well, where you provide to your customer. And the other P I will mention earlier, that about the single store pipeline. So in single store, right, we have concept of the pipeline, where it allow you to do the ingestion, and then with very high speed. That is basically built-in component of your database. Mean that you create a pipeline, like how you create the table, and of course it do support, mean that injecting the data serialization Avro packet from multiple sources like Cloud Object Storage, S3, Azure Blob Storage, GCS, Hadoop, and of course that now they talking about real time, people are always talking about Kafka. So Kafka source also support in single store, and then when it mapping, that mean that the file maybe in Cloud Object Storage or partition in Kafka broker, mapping one to one with the partition inside database, that allow me high speed parallel ingestion into single store. And you do having a way to either mean straight into the table, or is go through procedures, which means that you can using pipeline in single store at a mini ETL. So for example, here the syntax to create pipeline name, add load data from which source, from Kafka. Then you mention your the detail of your broker, and then you can put it into a store procedure where you mention your business logic inside your store procedure. So that is how it will help you. Firstly, inject the data in very high speed manners suitable for your real time analytics UCA, and also allow you to do the mini ETL job. And another thing that Christine will mention, and also that one of the things that we are shining, uh, that is unlimited storage. So the thing is that mean that when you having the storage, mean that fishing at your lib node, right? Let's say total your lib node only 4 terabyte data. So whenever you want to store more data, so you had to increase the storage at the lib node. However, with this unlimited storage, you are allowed to store more data by mean that specify that your database is you it will be how say pointing to cloud object storage besides store the data on the lib node. We mean that on the data stored on the lib node, it will be asynchronous written to your object storage, saying S3 or mean that GCS, etc. And then of course you can detect and attack mean that your database by pointing to the cloud object storage bucket as at any time. So um this thing at the foundation for something where we gonna separate it between storage and computing. So where your where your data where your data, right, it can your data or your database can be decoupled from your computing. So it will be very provide you multiple benefits. For example, it will be you have multiple workload with having different of the sizing requirement. So what it do is that you can having one side for mean that one side for transaction, another workspace side for analytics, right? And then you can scale of them independently, and you don't have to duplicate the data. Let's say analytics, you don't have to kind of duplicate the data, moving data from transactional production database into another database for analytics. I call that for the other machine learning or AI model, you don't have to duplicate another one. Rather than you just need to pointing to the same of the database, and then do a read from there. And then of course that with the separation of storage and compute, so it will help you to isolate the internal and also customer facing real time application simultaneously on the same share of the data, and you don't having the kind of noisy neighborhood as well, because that each of the workspace or the computing and engine, it can how to say, scale up and scale down independently. So um, the next two slide talking about that, I mean that what is the best practice to handle for the high concurrency or low latency architecture. So in case of high concurrency, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we do have in the child and we do have lead node, right? So in case of high concurrency, so you can add in more child aggregator into your cluster. This one is for cell manage. So what it do is that it will handle the thousand of system mean that requests, and then of course that you can increase the performance. Um, you can increase performance under the high concurrency, and in the other side, I mean low concurrency, right? It will be good for the using low latency architecture. It will be good when you're having multiple or more lip nodes, so that it will help to having more computing at the lip node to processing your request in parallel. So we switch gear a little bit to talking about another, I mean, that angle, which is Mongo, right? And why we talking about Mongo? So everyone is know that Mongo is very good administration. Mongo is come in the favorite first choice database for developer, where it means provide the schema-less flexibility, and then of course that it's having large community support and pretty much easy to starting with simplicity, and it's having on driver for different of programming language. However, when you having your transaction application, right, writing on Mongo, the next piece is that how you make a business decision on analytics. So that it will come to the challenge, meaning when you want to having analytics on Mongo. So typically that you can run it on Mongo, but it's very slow. So what you thinking that, okay, you had to taking out the JSON data out Mongo, you flattening it through the ETL process. You put it into some relational database, maybe Snowflake or Redshift, and then you plug in your BI tool. So that is the whole process that bring the complexity in the data transformation. And of course, that in case your schema change, then your ETL process is also change. The query size is also change. So that is where single store kind is coming to picture. Single store kind in the simple term, that is kind mean no SQL proceed on single store, where it's allowed to take the NoSQL query as in Mongo, and then we receive it, and then we convert it into SQL, and then we process it. However, the key point that we provide much better mean that analytics performance without any code change from NoSQL side. So on the screen, you can see me that we do have here a blog about it. This one to talking about how we compare between MongoDB and SingleStore on the same data sets on the same hardware sizing, how much the performance better you can have, that um, and that would be a way for you to handle analysis on Mongo. So this one is the one I just talking about, mean that saying that if you having the Mongo shell or the other analytic tool running NoSQL with Mongo, so now you can switch over to SingleStore. Pretty much easy, the same. I mean that the card URL, how you connect to Mongo, and then you point it to SingleStore, and then of course that from there SingleStore will handle it, provide you a very very high performance with low latency, yeah, on SingleStore. So it means that you can having the how say the beauty of the both words, SQL and NoSQL. On one side you can have NoSQL NoSQL benefit for your transaction use case, and of course that you do having a better benefit for your real-time analytics performance with powered by SingleStore, and nothing change from the developer point of view. They can mean that using the NoSQL to talk to SingleStore, and of course that as Christine will mention earlier, we have built in the feature for vector and AI already there, so you don't have to look for another database in case that you having kind of taught me about using that vector use case for your in your database. And we as we mentioned, we are a data platform, so uh, we we provide a platform for different of user, and of course that for data engineer. So they always mean that having a use case mean that where they having the Jupyter notebook, they coding in Python, they talk to a database, right? So with SingleStore, we do provide a notebook on SingleStore Helios. So basically, that is a web-based Jupyter notebook where it allows you to have to work on Python and SQL at the same place. And of course, that you can build you can do your data engineering job over there, install different package, do the processing, cleaning data, and also that you can share your notebook with your teammate as well. So, notebook is part of SingleStore computing service. So basically, as I mentioned, you can prototype with your notebook. You can build in your quick app, your quick demo on the notebook, combination of SQL and Python. Share with your team, and of course, you can run a schedule of your notebook to run at different frequency that's suitable for the streaming or batch ETL. And of course, that it's automated of what your process, right? Everything under one place. And uh, with the SingleStore computing service, we do provide a CPU and GPU, so that is suitable for your inference job, and also for your use case of create the vector so that you can use later with SingleStore to do similarity searching uh, for your use case, and everything note notebook CPU, GPU, and database as one place, highly secure. So I guess before I go to this one, I think that I having a quick 5 minutes to go through with you, mean how it look like to sign up with SingleStore. So you can starting to how say at the portal of singlestore.com, and over there then you can log in with your Gmail, your Outlook, your email, and log into that, and you will having a free trial credit, $600 credit. And after login, you will see a screen that is what is it look right now on screen. It's automatically create for you one thing, which is starter workspace. If it is free forever, you can use it to develop for your prototype. With having certain, of course, that is come with certain limitation. Let's say 10, 10 of the table and 1 gig of compressed storage and one database. However, in case that you want to having a coming full flash of the standard one, so you always welcome to create a new deployment. You can click on the new here, and then you click on the deployment. So here you can name of your workspace group, and of course that you can choose your cloud provider, whatever you are more close, mean that more closer to your application or your BI tool, and then on which region you see there are multiple of region on different cloud provider, mean that for you to choose. And of course that you always can opt, sorry, you always can opt in, saying for example, for the new latest feature by turn on this one. And of course the next thing that you can change the workspace name. You can choose a different size. So we have multiple high different size that allow you, mean that suitable for different of the need of you different need of your mean that requirement. And of course you can do something like scaling, like mean that you can do that provide you can get more visual or memory without changing the underlying architecture, or you can keep in the memory and visual but increase more storage. Yeah, so you have multiple option for you to choose here. Sorry, just 1 minute. Let me move here. I select the size, and of course, this one is single store kind. So pretty much that you can enable it so that it will provision for you single store kind and point. And then we do having auto scaling that's suitable for the use case whenever you having high mean that unpredicted the workload, right? You don't know when you should be scale up and scale down your workspace, right? So let single store decide by mean that you can turn it on here. So whenever the workload hits certain, it mean that sensitivity, either it mean that either it mean let's say it mean that running over 5 minutes CPU or memory over 80%, then let's run it mean that either two time or four time. Yeah, sorry, either two-time or four-time. And of course that we do having the auto suspend as well. So in that will help you to save your credit as well whenever you mean that the workspace in idle. Yeah. Then with that, then you can click on the workspace, and then single store will automatically create the workspace for you. Pretty much it's simple. Pretty much it's easy like ABC. Yep. And got that uh earlier I do create one another workspace group one. So um, on this workspace, right? So basically, you can see that mean that what is the CPU, what is the memory, how it look like, and then of course whatever database you create along with the other table type. Let's say, I mean in single store, we beside the row store, beside the column store where we connect universal storage. We having the other type, let's say for reference, thing where I mean the data in table existing duplicating every workload that is suitable for small table, and you can have in different view, store procedure, and then function and the pipeline saying that here, let's say mean that here I just load in for real-time marketing in UCA where I load in the data from S3, and then it means that it's go through a store procedure, and then um, from from here that you can how say you can set up let's say for the firewall to allow me whatever IP that allow you to access to your workspace, and of course that provide the list of the IP for your external uh, application to reach out to single store. And with single store managed service, so the update, right? Everything automatically is pretty much easy. You don't have to worry about update. You just need to set the schedule of update, all the business hour, and single stock. You take care all of that. And got that when you create the one master user, that is I mean that you can that you can set the password, and of course that you can create multiple user, mean that and group them into different group. Yeah. And I talk a little bit about mean that the workspace, right? So basically, you can how say you can increase or reduce of your workspace, yeah, by click on the resizing whenever your workspace active, and uh, a little bit more mean that how you connect to single store, right? So basically, like you can choose the connect, and then here is same thing like for the other mean that the other kind of the database. So basically, it provide you the main host username and password. So saying that, let's say I do copy this one, I only reset my password. So and I using the DB I mean that you can using any SQL IDE to yeah to connect to it. So and as single store we are MySQL wide protocol. So you can using MySQL to talk to mean that to single store, right? So this one then single store to three. Yeah, we can do it. That's one. Yep. So basically, you can connect, and from there you can starting your work life, how you do with mean that and any other database. Yep. And of course, that the thing that just I will mention that he no SQL, right, Mongo, right. So pretty much it's very easy that we once you tick on the single store kind is you having the NoSQL endpoint for you, and then of course that you can using saying here I using the compass, right? And then I just betting my how say my link, and I change I update the password of the user, and then there you go. Yeah. So you will it's already connected, and then you can see it as here we do having the market table where we can see it's on the single store. Yeah. This one? Yep. So basically um that is how it will help you, right? To mean that to start with single store pretty much it's easy with SQL and NoSQL for your real-time analytics. And I just want to recap here, right? With single store, right? Uh, there are some key product capability that enable for real-time analytics. Firstly, universal storage. That is one single table type to power up or OLTP and or lab under the same database. And of course that you do have and with that it provide you for the fast of performance on transaction analytics. And with single store pilot is allow you to quickly inject data from different sources, let's say for Kafka for streaming data, or um, the data on your cloud object storage. And you can scale you can have in the separation between storage and computing with unlimited storage. We do have in the single store can provide you Mongo API that it provide you thousand times of performance better on analytics on JSON with single store. And of course, we are relational database, so mean that you can expect it mean that we support multiple model use case with single store. We as Christine will mention, we run on anywhere, mean that we can run on the cloud, we can run on your data center, or we can run on your Kubernetes infrastructure. We provide the operator for that, and we do have notebook, mean that to help you to finally prototype your idea on your generative AI and other app, everything within single store. So single store power up for your real-time analytics. Yeah. That's all I have for today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike, for the detailed explanation on single store. So I think there are some question here. We will get back to you directly for the answer, John. And if you have any more questions, I will just type my email address here. So please feel free to connect with me and Mike Nguyen. And yes, thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have a fantastic day ahead and see you next month for our second webinar. Have a great day.